Yo, all you techies, what an interesting time we are in. We just had the iPhone 14 release in the US. Seems like it is going to be the biggest smartphone. But we are not here to talk about the iPhone today. We are here to talk about the Samsung Fold. So, it's called the Samsung Z Fold. Uh, Samsung. Okay, the Samsung Z Fold is set at a price of 2000 US dollars. The Samsung Z Fold 2 was released uh, on 18 September 2022. Oh, okay, the successor is Samsung Z Fold 3. Let's have a look at the Samsung Z Fold 3. The Samsung Z Fold 3 is a bit more foldable than its predecessors. It is priced at the starting price is at $1,799. It comes in three different colors: Phantom Black, Phantom Green, and Phantom Silver. A lot of phantoms. But let's get to the interesting part. But before we go any further, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more content on tech. Moving ahead, let's have a look at the phone. I'm going to play a video on my channel, on my screen here, and let's see. Let's see how things pick up from there. Alright, so here's the thing. Okay, it's the Samsung Z Fold 3 and it is very foldable. It looks very upbeat and very bright. Alright, so and it's got a stylus. It's nice. Fold view. Okay, it's a better build version compared to the Fold 2. It's about 1799 US dollars, which is 1800. It's still an expensive phone regardless, but it's a phone with a lot of ambition and it's taking things a step forward. And that's what I want to talk about in this review. And that's how we should go about these new phones. The newer phones are all about expanding the experience. Let's talk about the ambition of this phone. This is supposed to be the second best folding phone, and comes with a lot of specs. Okay, so not only did they release folding phone 3, but Samsung Fold 3, but also released the Samsung Flip 3. It's basically a sort of opening and closing of this. It opens like this. It's a really interesting phone. I believe that the Flip Phone 3 has surpassed all the phones and is the best phone on the market when it comes to flip phones. I would go as far as to say this phone is to be recommended to you. It is a great buy. It's actually a steal. So the idea behind the Flip, not the Fold, but the Flip 3, is to get you as close to as a smartphone, a normal smartphone, and then it just fits in your pocket. It just gets smaller. It brings you as close as it's possible to a normal smartphone. And the main advantage is that it closes up. It's a normal phone with a fold. I mean, it's smaller, but it opens up. So well done, Samsung. But the Fold wants to be a normal phone, and to add to it, it also wants to be a tablet. It's the possibility of it being a tablet with a huge display and a massive screen size. And that is the best part about this phone, because it is not only a phone, but it also can be used as a tablet. So this phone is very ambitious compared to all the other phones that has come out in the market. Okay, this phone has two screens. One is the main screen, which is you're going to use as your primary screen. The other one is when you unfold it and it becomes into a tablet. But here's the problem. Now, since it folds, it becomes more compact, and the screen in the front, or your primary screen, if you want to call it that, becomes very small, which makes normal usage function quite difficult compared to normal phone, because the normal phone screens are wider, and this happens to be sleek and thin. So scrolling and other things becomes a little, it's uncomfortable. You're used to the larger screen. The corners definitely have a margin of bezel. The screen has about 120 Hertz, and it's bright. It is very bright. can use the front screen for normal stuff like browse the internet and scroll through Instagram and stuff like that. But it's like very sleek and narrow and tall, which makes it difficult for you to reach the bottom or the top since you're holding the phone in between. So it's quite a hassle to reach for the notifications and things. So because it's narrow, the landscape also will be narrow. Playing a video or a game could possibly crop the ends, and it's difficult to type because the buttons are really tiny. You'll have to go back and correct it. It's bothersome. It's kind of annoying at times. So the phone, if you keep it on the table, it's not flat since because the camera and it tilts a little, wobbles. That's annoying as well. But the Fold 3 is thinner compared to the Fold 2. One other one other problem that I noticed in this phone is that it is very difficult to place it in car holders or any kind of car mounts or bike mount because it's so sleek. And when I say sleek, it's long and thin. It could just fall off and it's also heavy, so narrow and heavy is not the best option for a car mount. But I think the best part about overseeing all these factors, the best part about this is that you can pocket it. So obviously there are a lot of big phones, but this is easy to pocket. Let's continue. The phone is like technically awkward, big and clunky. Now let's unfold the phone. When you unfold the phone, it's a high-end product. You can see that the hinges are well built. It is a strong phone. It is IPX8 water resistant. So water and dust it's waterproof and dust proof. So it's not dust resistant. It's got good protection against water and other fluids, but it is not dust resistant. You can't take this to the playground or a sandy place or a beach because that would get you into trouble, or like a place where there is a lot of dust and debris. The design of the phone is beautiful. Okay. The camera quality is brilliant. It is an improvement compared to last year's Samsung Fold 2. It performs very well under low lighting and has a 12 megapixel camera. Let's check out the specs on the phone, shall we? Okay, it's 1768 by 2208 pixels. It has a 12 megapixel camera, 12 GB of RAM, and 4400 mAh battery, which is Light Pro. It weighs about 271 grams, 6.4 millimeters thick, runs on Android 11 up to Android 12L, One UI UL 4.1.1. It has a 512 GB storage. It has no SD card slot. It has a range 256 GB to 512 GB. So the phone was announced in 2021 August 11. It's an unfolding dimensions are 158.2 millimeters into 128.1 millimeters into 6.4 millimeters. Folded dimensions are 158.2 in length into 67.1 in width into 14.4 millimeters thickness. It weighs about 271 grams, that is 9.56 ounces. The front glass is Gorilla Glass folded, plastic front unfolded, glass back. The glass behind is Gorilla Glass Victus, and it has an aluminium frame. It supports both nano SIM and an eSIM. Okay, the display type and resolution. It's the foldable dynamic AMOLED 2x. It's a foldable dynamic AMOLED 2x display, 120 Hz refresh rate, HDR 10 plus, 120 nits peak at its peak. Size is 7.6 inches. Screen size is 7.6 inches. 17.9.2 centimeters square. Screen to body ratio. The screen to body ratio is 88.8%. The resolution is 176.8 into 2208 pixels. 374 ppi plus the pixel density. The front is dynamic AMOLED 2x 120 Hz display. Gorilla Glass Victus 6.2 inches. 832 into 2268 pixels. Ratio is 25:9. AMOLED 11. OS is AMOLED 11. So iOS runs on Android 11 upgradable to Android 12L. One UI 4.1.1. Qualcomm SM8350 Snapdragon 888 5G 5mm chipset, octa-core 1 into 2.84 gigahertz. Cortex is X1 and 3 into 2.42 gigahertz. Cortex A78 and 4 into 1.80 gigahertz. Cortex A55 CPU, and the GPU is Adreno 660. There is no memory card slot. Internal memory ranges between 256 GB with 12 GB RAM to 512 GB with 12 GB RAM UFS 3.1. Main camera is triple 12 megapixels with a focal length of 1.8, 22, 26 wide angle lens, 1 by 1.76 inches, dual pixel FTAF OIS. The second camera is also 12 megapixels but 52 telephoto lens. Focal length is about 2.4, FTAF OIS 2 into optical zoom, 2x optical zoom. Okay, the third camera is also 12 megapixels. Focal length is about 2.2, 132 12 ultra wide. Okay, LED flash is HDR panorama. Okay, video is 4K at 60 frames per second, 180p at 60 to 240 frames per second. Gyro is EIS 720p at 960 frames per second. Gyro is EIS HDR 10 plus. Okay, 4 megapixel camera. The front is so the selfie camera, the front camera is a 4 megapixel camera, focal length of 1.8. It's an under display camera, cover camera. Features, it is 10 megapixel or 26 wide angle HDR. It records 4K videos at 30 frames per second, 180p at 30 frames per second, and Gyro EIS. These are some neat specs that we have here. So okay, so it has loudspeaker with stereo speakers. It does not have a 3.4 jack. Disappointed to see that the 3.4 jack does not show up anymore in phones. 32-bit 348 kHz audio tuned by AKG. Okay, comms is WLAN Wi-Fi 802.11.11 ABG-NAC6E, dual brand Wi-Fi direct hotspot. Bluetooth is 5.2, A2DP LE APT XHD. GPS, yes, it has GPS with AGPS. NFC, yes. Radio, yes. USB Type-C 3.2 charger. Battery and charging is LiPo 4400 mAh, non-removable battery, fast charging 25 watt, fast wireless charging 11 watt, reverse wireless charging 4.5 watt. So you can reverse charge the reverse charge your other devices as well. Sensors, it has fingerprint, side mounted accelerometer, gyro, proxymeter, compass, barometer, Bixby, natural language commands and directions. Samsung DX desktop experience support. Samsung Pay, it has Samsung Pay, which is Visa, MasterCard certified. Unlimited wideband UWB supported. Now let's go to so color ranges: Phantom Black, Phantom Silver, Phantom Green, Chrome Brown Edition. Okay, model is there are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 models. SAR 8.73 WKG. I don't think the information here is 100% correct, but regardless, the Samsung Z Fold is a good phone. And looking at these specs, I am convinced that it is one of the best phones that you could buy. But it has its own problems. Let's continue with watching our video. Okay, it also has a very good, you can take photos at a very close angle. Oh, I have an ad. I'm going to watch through the ad because I'm too lazy to skip it. But the ad is also about a phone called Motorola Edge. Looks like it's a very, very sleek phone with a 200 megapixel camera. 200 megapixel. Damn. Okay. It goes from 60 to 120 Hertz cover display. Let's keep going. Oh. Okay. So the battery life, or to power such a two screens and for all that specs to fit in, it's a trade-off. So your battery life is drained up quite quickly. Okay, you get about 16 hours of battery life depending on how you use it. 6.2 inches bright. Okay, there are battery saver modes and other ways to reduce your to increase your battery life by reducing the use of function. Okay, so although it says it will give you 16 hours of battery life, the screen on time is at around 3 hours and 20 minutes on a full charge. So Yeah. The maximum battery life that you get on a continuous usage would be 4 to 4.5 hours of on-screen time. So if you're willing to make certain sacrifices like the small keyboard, not being able to mount, the battery life, what else? The small front screen. If you're willing to foresee all these problems or all these, I wouldn't want to call them flaws, but what should we call them? All these technical circumstances, if you're willing to foresee them, then you have actually a good phone in your hand. And the best part about the phone is that you can use it as a tablet. So I think you should probably be treating this phone as a tablet and carry a power bank wherever you go. Not comparing this to the iPhone or anything, but iPhone also has the same battery life issues, doesn't it? So why not give this phone a chance? Let's continue. So the trade-off is, although you have all these problems, you have a 7 plus 7.6 inches display, a massive display for gaming, for videos, for reading, and this display is improved and it's so much so better than the previous display. The folding glass is around 30% harder. Okay, since the glass is very soft on the inside because it has to fold, accidental fingernail damages can be permanent. So that is quite a trade-off. And not just fingernail, while using the stylus, if you're a little rough, if you poke a hole through it, then I mean there are chances, because it is still, although it is 30% harder, it is still soft and it has to bend completely. So you have, Samsung is yet to figure a lot of things out. But having said that, this is quite an ambitious phone. Anything harder than the screen that they have now, it won't fold. So it is a trade-off. There is a crease in between which you can feel, which you will be able to feel in the phone, but it is not going to be that bad, I guess, if you're willing to forgo the feeling of it. I mean, it's a learning curve, it's a getting used to curve. You'll have to get used to it. If you're a designer or if you're an artist, the big screen size is a bonus for you because you have so much of real estate to work on. Now the highlight is the S Pen. It's an optional accessory. So it's a special pen, a very special pen for the Fold edition itself. It's actually around $50 and so the tip is softer and it is designed for the Z Fold. The tip actually goes inside if you press it hard so that you don't accidentally damage the screen itself. So you have all the benefits of a regular stylus that Samsung has produced, but this is specially designed for the purpose of it's quite smooth. There's very little lag, but there is a lag. The problem is, where do you keep the pen? There is no magnetic attachment, nothing. You just have to keep the pen separately. That seems Samsung do better. Where do we keep the pen if we got the pen? I mean, chances are that we're going to lose it before we're going to use it. You have to get, I think, a separate cover, like a phone cover. Okay, that brings another question. Let me know in the comment section below if there is how do we get phone covers for this, and what kind of phone covers will help protect this phone, and is there a phone cover that will help address the matter of not having space for the S Pen? Let's keep going. So this phone is probably the phone that will cause the fall of the Note series, the Galaxy Note series, and the push towards. But the Note series did something that was crazy, where they had a slot separately for the pen. Why not do that here? I mean, seems like a reasonable idea. Why did they negate the whole situation? Why did they negate the whole idea there? Although we have this phone, I personally prefer the Note series because the Note series had a lot more benefits. Although it was a big phone, it was a massive phone. It was like carrying around a television. Just saying. But it had a lot of benefits. We had a lot of benefits to the phone. Especially where we could keep the pen, the stylus. Okay, let's come to the front camera. The front camera is invisible unless you tilt the phone and see it from an angle, because it's concealed behind the screen, which is brilliant, by the way. You can't even see it. It's hidden behind the glass under a pixelated array. So it is slightly visible, but mostly you can't see it all that much. It's decently hidden. I mean, nothing to complain about. You barely notice it. The notifications slide down very easily. The front camera is decent quality, 12 megapixel camera, and under good lighting it takes crisp images. I mean, I am surprised. This is well done, and it's much better quality compared to the Z Fold 2. Also, you can make it like a stand, and when you fold it, the screen splits into two, the upper half and the lower half. The lower half can become like uh, typing. So let's say you're recording something, and when you're playing the video, you have a fold. There is a little bit of distortion in the video. So if you're playing something or recording something via the front camera, you will be able to see a slight distortion because of the crease in the screen. Okay, this is a very powerful phone, but although it's a very powerful phone, there is a lot of trade-off. The plus is the real estate and the amount of effort that went into the phone's what would I say? The phone's interface. It's user friendly. I mean, it's still a phone that I would like to have. All the apps are optimized for this. So YouTube is technically missing a lot of features. You can't post on community or post YouTube stories on this phone. That is a real drawback. People are going to think twice before buying this phone when all these features are missing. I think Samsung has to up its game and get all these features set right. Alright, before we move any further, like this video for more content. We need your support to produce more content and better quality content. Number 2, don't forget to subscribe. Number 3, watch till the end of the video. If you're a techie, then we have a surprise for you at the end. I mean, I'm just going to give you the specs of the iPhone, so not a surprise anymore. Let's compare this phone to the iPhone. The iPhone 14 to be specific. Here we are. It released on 2022, September 16. Okay, it weighs about 172 grams with a thickness of 7.8 mm. Runs on iOS 16. It comes in the variations of memory variation of 128 GB, 256 GB and 512 GB storage. Definitely no card slot. Just like all the other iPhone, the display is 6.1 inches, which is 1170 into 2532 pixels. It has a 12 megapixel 2160p camera, 6 GB of RAM, 3278 mAh battery. Technically, the RAM, I mean, all these phones have the massive RAMs. They're almost a scam because you do not require a RAM of 14 GB, 15 GB, max to max 8 GB for a phone, because you are not going to use a lot, I mean, more than that. I mean, anything else, they're just trying to sell you something that you are not going to use. So if your phone is more than 12, it has more than 12 GB RAM, then it's a waste. 16 GB RAM, you're never going to use it. It makes no sense to have a phone with a 16 GB RAM. Trust me. The most fastest phone on the planet, the iPhone, has a RAM of 6 GB, and when they can perform exuberantly well, why not other phones with 8 GB RAM? I mean, the max you'll need is 8 GB. You're not going to use it for rendering or graphic purposes, right? Let's move on. Moving on. So the technology that is used in the network is GSM or CDMA slash HSPA slash EVTO slash LTE slash 5G. This is officially a 5G phone. It was announced in September 5th, 2022. Available or released on the 16th of this year, 2022. The dimensions are 146.7 millimeters into 7.5 millimeters into 7.8 millimeters. Okay, 146.7 millimeters is the height, 71.5 is the width, and the thickness is 7.8 mm. Or if you have to look at it in inches, it's 5.78 height inches, or 2.81 is the width, and 0.31 inches is the thickness. So that's 5.78 into 2.81 into 0.31 inches. The width is around 172 grams or 6.07 ounces. The back glass is Gorilla Glass, has an aluminum frame. The front glass is also Gorilla Glass. It has a nano SIM tray and an eSIM or a dual eSIM international. Dual eSIM with multi numbers, USA dual SIM, nano SIM. So the Chinese version has dual SIM. It's IP68 dust and water resistant, not proof, it is water resistant. Up to 6 meters for 30 minutes only. It obviously has Apple Pay, which is approved, certified by Visa, MasterCard and AMEX. Let's move on to the display type. It has one of the best display. It is Super Retina XDR OLED, HDR10, Dolby Vision, 800 nits to 1200 nits at its peak, 6.1 inches of real estate on the display with 90.2 centimeters square, 86% screen to body ratio. That is a good screen to body ratio. Pretty sure the bezels are thin, almost edge to edge bezels. Okay, the resolution is 1170 into 2532 pixels, 19.5:9 ratio, 460 ppi pixel density. It's a scratch resistant ceramic glass and oleophobic coating. It has an oleophobic coating. Oleophobic coating. What's an oleophobic coating? What's an oleophobic coating? Okay, so it refers to a characteristic or physical property of a material by a lack of affiliation to any oil substance, or any material that is oilophobic is resistant to the penetration or adhesion of oils. So oils don't stick to the screen. It forms a bead and it rolls off. Oh, interesting. This is usually used to keep the screen clean. In other commercial purposes, it is used to prevent corrosion by coating the substance with oilophobic material. Let's get back to the specs of the iPhone. So, uh, the OS is 16. It runs on iOS 16. Its Apple A chipset is A15 Bionic 5 nanometers. The CPU is hexa-core 2 into 3.25 gigahertz Avalanche plus 4 into 1.8 gigahertz Blizzard. Apple GPU 5 core graphics. It has a GPU. Card slot, there is no card slot. Internal storage comes in 1, 2, 3 variations. With the 6 GB RAM, NVMe, 128 GB, 6 GB RAM, 256 GB, 6 GB RAM, 512 GB storage. Also, okay, 128 GB storage with 6 GB RAM, 256 GB storage with 6 GB RAM, or 512 GB with 6 GB RAM NVMe. Main camera is a dual camera, both 12 megapixels, 12 megapixel front. At the back, it has two cameras, which is 12 megapixels. The first camera has a focal length of 1.5, 26 width. It's a 26 wide angle lens, 1 by 1.7 inches. It's a dual pixel PDAF sensor shift OIS. The other camera is 2.4 13 120 degrees ultra wide camera. It has dual LED, dual tone flash, HDR photo and panorama. It takes videos at 4K at 24, 25, 30 and 60 frames per second at 180p. 4K, either 4K video or 180p video at the same 25 frames per second, 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second and 120 frames per second or 240 frames per second. HDR, Dolby Vision HDR up to 60 frames per second, cinematic mode 4K at 30 frames per second, stereo sound recording. Okay, so the selfie camera is also 12 megapixels with the focal length of 1.9, 23 wide angle, 1 by 3.6 FPAF, SL 3D depth biometric sensor, features HDR, cinematic mode 4K at 30 frames per second. It takes videos, the front camera can take videos at 180p at 225 frames per second, 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, 120 frames per second. It has gyro EIS and it also takes 4K video at 24 frames per second, 25 frames per second, 30 frames per second and 60 frames per second. Stereo speakers, it has loudspeakers, yes. No 3.4 jack, Oh well, considering that iPhone started the trend of removing 3.4 mm jack. Sad to hear it though. Okay, Wi-Fi 802.11 A slash B slash G slash N slash AC slash 6 dual band hotspot. Bluetooth is 5.3 A2BPLE. What are the sensors that this phone has? It has an accelerometer, face ID, gyro, proxymeter, barometer, compass, ultra wideband UWB supported, emergency SOS via satellite, SMS sending or receiving. Now the battery, well, no high hopes on the battery because it usually dies out quickly. Although the fast charging is 50% in 30 minutes, that's an advantage. It's USB powered deliver 2.0 lightning charge, LiLON to 3279 mAh battery, non-removable 12.6 AWH. It's a mega safe wireless charging 15 watt QI magnetic fast charging wireless charging at 7.5 watt. This comes in 5 colors: purple, midnight, starlight, blue, and red. Models are A2882, A2649, A2881, A2884, A2883. It's priced at around 1,599 in US or 849 euros. Well, I want to know which phone is better. Let's do a small comparison. This is the bonus that I promised you guys. Okay, critic rating is not yet come out for the iPhone 14. So let's check out. Um, let's check out the differences. So user rating on the iPhone 14 is 3.0, whereas the user rating on the Z Fold 3 is 4.1. The first round is taken by the Z Fold. Camera for the iPhone is 12 megapixels, two 12 megapixel cameras, whereas for the Samsung it's three 12 megapixels camera. Display is 6.1 inches, but the display for Samsung is 7.6 inches. Performance is A15 Bionic chipset or Qualcomm Snapdragon 888 chipset. RAM is 46 GB RAM, and Samsung is 12 GB. Storage is different variations. Obviously, the Samsung Galaxy Fold is much more expensive compared to uh, the iPhone. The operating system of the Android is iOS V16, wherein the operating system is Android V11. Slim sort, dual SIM GSM plus GSM, dual SIM GSM plus GSM in Samsung as well. Both have the same. SIM size, both have the same. Network, yes, they both have the same, and they both are 5G phones. Rear camera, front camera, iPhone takes the price because it's a 12 megapixel camera, wherein in the Samsung Z Fold it is a 10 megapixel camera. Design, obviously Samsung is bulkier and bigger because it is a fold phone. Weight, obviously iPhone takes the price because this phone is bulkier. Thickness, again, interesting. The weight and the thickness, obviously Samsung is going to be more heavier. So having seen all this, I feel that it is, which phone should you go for, and which is the better phone? Should you go for the Samsung Z Fold or the iPhone 14? I'd say it's on your personal preference, what you are looking out for. The whole purpose of this video was to give you an overview of the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold, and now that you have the overview, according to me, it is not my kind of a phone, but I would not mind using it for quite a while because it is probably the future of all phones. Folding phones would be folding, or sliding phones would be the next generation, and the way things are going to go in the phone industry. Keeping that in mind, let's hope that you are going to make the best choice after watching this video. Subscribe to our channel, don't forget to do that. Leave your thoughts in the comment section, like and share. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for more.